Yo, what is going on guys, Flashverse here, and welcome back to another video on The Flash Season 8. And for this video, I'll be going over a theory about the back half of The Flash Season 8 once again, and I'll be theorizing about whether or not could we end up seeing the Black Flash return. And this may be surprising to some people, but I will also be explaining why he is not dead. So yeah, I'll give you guys my overall thoughts on this theory in regards to whether we could see him return for the back half of the season. But yeah, obviously we have wrapped up graphic novel number 5, which is the Armageddon event, and it was hands down the best storyline we've had on The Flash in a very, very long time. It's made a huge redemption to the show, and hopefully the back half of the season can continue as strong as Armageddon. But yeah, we are currently on a mid-season break until March 9, which is actually on Wednesdays now, no longer Tuesdays. So the Flash will now be on a new time slot when it returns, and it will be on Wednesdays, whereas on Tuesdays it will be Naomi and Superman and Lois. On Wednesday, March 9, we will be kicking off with episode 6. So when the Flash returns, we will be having interlude part 2. So episodes 6, 7, and 8 will all be interlude episodes, but then after the interlude, we will be getting 2 more graphic novels. So we will be having graphic novel number 6 from episodes 9 to 13, and then graphic novel number 7 will be episodes 14 to 18, each with new storylines and new villains. However, from Eric Wallace, we do know that some of the events of Armageddon and the timeline changes created from it will ripple onto the back half of the season. So I am very interested to see how that comes into play. But yeah, as I said, for this video, I'll be going over whether or not could we see the Black Flash return for the Flash Season 8, and I will also be explaining why he is not dead and he's actually alive. So if you guys go on to enjoy the video and want to see more theory videos like this, be sure to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel so you are aware of more Arrowverse content coming your way. Okay, so firstly, I'll be talking about the possibility of us seeing the Black Flash return sometime in the Flash Season 8. Now, unlike many seasons of The Flash Season 8 is the season which heavily involved a lot of time travel. We obviously had the whole Armageddon event where we had Bart creating Reverse Flashpoint, and he intervened with various points in time, such as making himself the Flash, and he pretty much stole Barry's life. He then went back in time and did what he said he would do all those years ago, where he killed Barry as a child. Not just that, but he also turned Barry Allen into the Reverse Flash, and he also took care of the one father figure Barry had by killing Joe. All of these are timeline changes created by a speedster. And then comes in Despero, and I know the Black Flash wouldn't go after Despero because Despero's not a speedster, but I'm just showing you guys the timeline changes created so far. But then Despero comes in, who time travels from 2031 to 2021 in order to kill the Flash, because he believed that he was the product of Armageddon. And then Despero further interacted with the Flash as well as Team Flash in the year 2021, thus causing more timeline changes. We then have Barry, whom during episodes 3 to 4 time travels to the future in order to find out who has been pulling the strings all along and who's actually changed the timeline that made it so that Barry causes Armageddon and killed Joe. And he's interacted with various different characters from the future whilst also explaining what's been going on to future Iris, as well as characters such as Damien Dark. But then by the end of the episode, we have Barry time traveling and restoring the Reverse Flashpoint timeline, and he creates a new timeline where Armageddon pretty much never existed. However, we did have Bart Thawne getting erased from existence, which was a timeline change caused by Barry restoring the timeline, and then we still had Despero remaining a threat. And most notably, during the end of episode 5, we had Bart and Nora changing the timeline by appearing in a photograph from New Year's Eve 2014. So yeah, in just 5 episodes, we had a lot of time travel taking place. And we know that it is not the last that we will be seeing of time travel this season. We do know that episode 6 of season 8 will also be heavily reliant on time travel as well. The concept behind that episode is pretty much timeline changes have occurred as a result of Armageddon, and essentially Bart and Nora from the Flash Museum notice that the whole timeline is in flux. We then have them time traveling to the year 2014 during the time Barry is in a coma, and essentially they fix what's different. So from the trailer, for example, we do have this news about Joe getting shot at the jewelry heist, and possibly this was not supposed to happen, and Bart and Nora will have to attempt to stop Joe from getting shot, and then when they save Joe, that ends up making the timeline even worse, because we know a speedster is immune to timeline changes, so they wouldn't be aware of any timeline changes taking place. And this post-Armageddon timeline is a whole new timeline. So in this post-Armageddon timeline, Joe does get shot in this jewelry heist, whereas Bart and Nora wouldn't be aware of that because they are speedsters, meaning they never experienced these timeline changes before. Everything to them would just still feel normal. So when they try to restore the timeline, that will end up breaking the timeline because technically they've altered what they were not supposed to alter. But we do also see Bart and Nora interacting with characters such as a past version of Joe West, and then they've also interacted with Eddie Thawne, further causing timeline changes because these guys are from the past, whereas Bart and Nora are from the future. So this would also affect the timeline. Not just that, but we do know that metahumans are not around at this point because this is during the time Barry is still in a coma. So Bart and Nora do have to be very careful with what they have to do so they do not mess the timeline up too much. We do see them suited up in their super suits as well during the trailer, so clearly they're not being too careful. So as I said before, it will be interesting to see in what way do Bart and Nora use their abilities because they aren't allowed to run around the city because metahumans do not exist, so they need to be more cautious of that. So if pedestrians see trails of lightning whooshing past them, obviously they're going to question what's going on because metas are not created at this point, and it's going to destroy the timeline even more. And also we do see Bart and Nora taking a picture with CCPD at New Year's Eve 2014. So yeah, that is going to be a big timeline change as well, which we've already seen from the end of episode 5. That being said, we do know that the Speed Force does not like it when speedsters mess with time, and this is why they send things like time wraiths to go after the speedsters and send them back to their timeline, or even kill the speedster and punish them. Now, as we know, the Black Flash is essentially a mindless being bound to the will of the Speed Force for all eternity. So pretty much it serves the Speed Force. And with time travel being a heavily involved concept during the Flash Season 8, I think it makes a lot of sense that we actually end up getting the Black Flash returning and go after these speedsters this season. And yes, I am aware that we saw Killer Frost pretty much kill the Black Flash during Season 3, but it's not that simple, and here is why the Black Flash is still alive. So the Black Flash is still alive because, and there are several factors to this, but firstly, this is not the first time we saw the Black Flash die and then return later on. Earlier on in Season 3, most notably Season 3 Episode 16, we had this short battle between the Flash and the Black Flash in the Speed Force, and what we saw over here was that the Flash used his emblem to essentially overcharge the Reverse Flash, and that essentially resulted into the Black Flash pretty much blowing up. But then we saw the Black Flash return during the Season 3 finale. And yeah, a pretty similar thing happened with Killer Frost and Black Flash, where Black Flash got frozen and then once again he shattered into pieces. So if we saw the Black Flash being overloaded and then literally being exploded into pieces and then coming back, I think it's very, very likely that the Black Flash survived this against Killer Frost as well. Not just that, but in the comics, the Black Flash is actually an immortal being who cannot die. He just keeps getting reset and sent back to the Speed Force again and again. Now yes, you could question why he didn't show up after the Flash Season 3 if this was the case, in which it is a very valid question. But I would say the main reason for this is actually because the Black Flash only goes after speedsters who heavily mess with the timeline, whereas time wraiths go after speedsters who just normally mess with time. In regards to Armageddon and all the other bunch of time travel we're getting this season, that is heavily messing with the timeline because you're not just changing one thing, you're changing multiple things, meaning this is a Black Flash worthy situation. So yeah, it will be really cool to see the Black Flash return for the Flash Season 8. However, I don't know how likely it is that we will see him. But it is possible because everything lines up so well. I don't know how they won't be able to fit the Black Flash into this. But yeah, I guess we will have to wait and see. Now, we do know that this isn't the only time travel taking place in episode 6. We do know that Jay Garrick is also returning for this episode. And we have seen behind the scenes images of him in the Flash Museum. So we do know that he time travels to 2049 and he does interact with Bart and Nora. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of Speedster related time travel going on, meaning we should be getting some sort of big consequences taking place because of that. And I think this is why having Black Flash there makes a lot of sense. Now, I do want to also give like a quick channel update, but essentially I do have the membership feature on my channel. It's a very recent thing which I was able to enable, and there are 3 different tiers consisting of heaps of exclusive perks, including members only live streams, how to grow your YouTube channel tips, group chats, and more. So if you guys feel like supporting me and the channel further, you can go ahead and press the join button right next to the logo of my channel. I appreciate all the support. The perks are shown below. Obviously you do not have to, this is just if you want to support the channel further, but it will be really greatly appreciated if you do. But yeah guys, thanks for watching. If you guys have enjoyed the video, please give a like and subscribe. Be sure to tell me in the comment section down below if you guys think that we will see the Black Flash return for The Flash Season 8. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next video.